Hi, my name is Sally Barnard, an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer. Welcome to Call Me Zena, a true story into the spiritual realms. Join me as I sit and discuss the journey of self-discovery, and with the help of my spirit guides, it's time to trust your intuition. Sit with me and call in live 888-994-4995 Studio A. And now onto the show. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to my show. If you have any questions for me, we actually don't have a topic today, but anything that you feel that you want to ask me, please call in 888-954-4995, and I forget the number.
888-994-4995 Studio A.
That's what I was going to say, Freddie. Okay.
888-994-4995 Studio A.
And also, before I start, I do want to just tell you a little bit about my book that has just come out again. Okay, I've updated it. It's a revision from my last book. It actually gives my story of everything that's happened to me over the last, well, this happened about quite a few years back. I started to astral project. I have everything in my book. I documented it. And I do recommend that you read this book first. I have another book coming out in about 4 months, but this is the intro to another book. So if you want, it's on Amazon and it's also on Author House. And please, just if you want and you're interested in what I'm talking about, it will explain everything in the book. I also want to read, because I have written some prose in the book, I'm going to just start off the show with something that I wrote. Comes to me the same way as my art. I do not know what I'm writing. I do not know what I'm painting. So I'm just going to read you something from the book. Okay. It's what is going on within the mysteries of our soul. How are we to understand? We are but mere mortals in this universe. Way beyond the stars, there are so many mysteries. We have not touched the surface. Must we judge? I think not. Look within. Our answers are all in there. Take time to smell the flowers. Look to the sky and way beyond. We are missing so much in this world as we know it. Look within and look beyond. We have so much to learn. Yet go slow, my child. Forget the anger. Forget the rage. Stop now and learn. We must forgive. We must forgive ourselves. We are immortal. That which was is. Zena. I had no idea what I was writing, just like my art. And I have quite a few prose in the book too. So if you're interested at all, please just click on the QR code that shows my age, because the QR code's only been out a few years, and purchase my book. And you will understand a little more where I'm coming from. And it's also an intro to the new book. So tune in every Monday, listen to my show, and please buy my book so you'll understand where I'm coming from.
And you can buy your books here, and Sally will autograph.
I will sign them too, yes. Absolutely, at the Brooklyn Cafe, which I now call definitely my second home. So our guests today are Dawn, Freddie, and my good friend Sandy. So any questions, anybody that wants to call in and ask me a question, I better off before the show just to let you know I have no idea what the questions are. I answer them the best that I can through my guides, and I will give you the answers.
You have an event coming up?
I have an event coming up August the 27th. So that, I believe, is going to be recorded. So they can go into either my website or into the Brooklyn Cafe or Call Me Zena. And we're going to show everybody that's listening, they're going to see me up on the stage talking.
She has actually one of 6 events starting on the 27th.
I do.
Now I have a question for you. So when you are there and there's 50, 60 people in the studio, and they come and they're all watching you and you're introducing your books and who you are and everything else, how is it that you are able to feel what they say when they come up and ask you a question? They're actually not going to stand. They're going to have a microphone reached out to them. So how do you do that?
It's a feeling. I'm also an empath, so I can feel maybe someone may be a bit reluctant to answer questions or ask me a question for me to answer. So some of them are maybe a little bit more private within themselves, but I am an empath, so I can definitely feel that. And as an example, today I walked into the cafe, and I have to bring this up. For some reason, I never get nervous, but I was a little nervous today. Then I said to Dawn, just from nowhere, did you lose something over the weekend, right? And you actually had lost something. So I believe
You actually said, have you lost a ring?
Oh, I did say that. Okay,
And
I
I
don't remember.
actually, I lost a ring. I remember having it here Thursday night, and Friday I couldn't find it. And though you actually said, did you lose a ring?
I
And
did. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. So you
That's
know
not
what?
it, though.
I'm still a human being in a human body, and it's also very nice for these things to be validated to me. And going further into that, you also had found some rings, Freddie, right? So
I found a ring.
So there we go. I mean, I work through my guides, as you guys know, and they were telling me that they were, I believe there was another message to that, but also to tell me that they were around me. And we saw that loud and clear, right, as I walked in. That nervousness, for some reason, which you know I don't often have, has completely gone.
Yeah,
So
you were very quiet today.
I've been quiet. I've been listening to them. I think they told me to be quiet for a little while.
What are they telling you today?
They're telling me that we're going to have a great show. We're going to have some wonderful people calling in, and we have some wonderful people in the audience. So I'm ready to answer any questions.
888-994-4995, Studio A. Give Sally a call for any questions that you might have. A lot of new things. I know last week we talked about change, and here we go this week, right? It's hard to believe school is starting again within the next week or so. Summer is not over, but apparently in the South it's over.
And I believe change is always good. I know that I had come in with a kind of strange message.
Yeah.
I know that, Dawn, but they actually told me off because I was actually, what I had said, I can't even remember at this
Oh,
point.
I don't want to repeat it, but yes.
But it wasn't the way that we had thought it was. And they had told me off. They said, you scared Dawn. So it was more of what's going on in the news. And I really don't follow the news that much. I will listen enough that I know what current affairs is going on. But I try not to take all the negativity in. And I believe at that point I had. So it wasn't so much just to air this so that you know that it wasn't for us. It was to say what was going on in the news. So everything is all good, okay? That's my message for you.
It's a much better message.
Okay.
I'm glad Sandy's here. You have a question?
Oh, me? No, I'm just.
You'll come up with a question though, Sandy, I'm sure. Okay.
Well, I had an interesting weekend, so I want to ask you, and I never asked this way, but what do you see for me?
Okay, so I'm going to see that you're right where you're meant to be right now, Freddie. Actually, what I'm feeling is very much that there's a little turmoil going on without going into the details of it, but I think you'll know what I'm saying. But just go with the flow, okay? Because things will correct themselves. It's hard to give you time, but I want to say within the next month, a lot of more things are going to become clearer for you without airing what it is, but I believe you will know what I'm talking about. Okay, so just go with it. And what you feel, because you can feel, if you feel that something isn't right that you're doing, please go ahead and correct it. They're telling me to correct it because change is good. And again, this is just for you to understand this, which I know that you do. So if you feel very much that you need to change whatever it is, be it a situation, be it a place, be it anything, be it something in the cafe here, that I'm not going to air out right now, but do it because you are on the right track. You're very intuitive, so you know what's going on. But if you're feeling that there's a disruption there, that there's something that is not in balance, you are correct. I just want to tell you, you are correct with what you're thinking. Absolutely, I'm going to go as far as saying 100%, if that makes sense in any way to you.
Well, it's like when we went to see Pastor Bill, and he said to me, if you're comfortable doing something, you're doing it wrong. So being uncomfortable for me is doing it right. I look forward to the challenges. As a matter of fact, I woke up today probably feeling better than having a couple of weeks.
Beautiful, and that's what I actually am trying to say to you, and I'm glad that you voiced it more able actually in your way of thinking than I was actually telling you. But that's actually what I was talking about. Yes, absolutely, 100%. So it's good, you know, we go through ups and downs. Our life is like this, it's a roller coaster. But when we're on our lows, and I've said this before, sometimes out of negativity can come positivity. That's very, very important to understand that, because, you know, when you're in a negative, whatever the situation is, you feel that whole world is against you. But actually, it's a very good learning experience. And I feel right now that you have gone to your lows, but you're coming up high again. It's so important to come in touch with your own feelings. And that goes for everybody. Your own feelings are your own intuition, which is for you personally. I can give you as many messages that I want to about what I see, but ultimately the decision is each and every one of us makes that own decision for ourselves. So whilst you might think, well, oh my gosh, but you are, although you might appear sometimes negative with a situation, I truly believe that you are very positive, Freddie, and that you can see, you are laughing, I know, but you can see the reasons. If you go into yourself, you're able to do that. Your intuition is very strong.
Well, Sally, you know, one of the things is that you get to see people's negativity around you. And people have a tendency of drowning in a glass of water. And sometimes you got to act negative just to highlight what they're seeing about themselves. And then they'll come to you and say, you know, it doesn't make any sense the way you're acting. So it isn't, it's pre-planned. You know, sometimes people learn a lesson by doing the opposite of what you should do.
That's exactly right. And I mean, that came to me a couple of weeks ago. Out of negativity comes positivity, because we're here on a learning experience to learn things. So again, and I've said this many times, if everything was absolutely the way that we want it, what are we here for? Well, we're here to enjoy, but we won't be learning what we really need to know, be it from a past life, be it for what's going to happen in the future. We need these lessons. We need them. And they carry on to our next life, which we sometimes call karma. Karma is what we feel that we've done maybe wrong. That's a whole nother show. But there is such a thing as karma. It's just that we are shown what we're doing over and over again till we've learned that lesson. And that's really, really important to understand that.
Over and over. So we can make the same mistakes in every lifetime over and over again.
Until we learn it. You know, we can say yes, and we see that, because if you don't change is what's important. If you see something happening, even in a relationship, and this is very, very, people will tell you this, oh, I went for the same person again, the same mistakes or whatever, we don't. It's a lesson. So if you think to yourself, okay, you know what, I've had enough of, let's say, being treated the way that someone's treating you. Once you actually see that that's happening, then you're halfway there, because then you're going to, if you get out of that relationship, you don't want to keep repeating that. So how do we understand that we keep repeating it unless it keeps repeating? Once we stop that and we begin to visualize or think, I don't want that anymore. The key is I don't want that. I've had enough is enough. Then we will find different person coming into our life. They may have another problem.
Yeah, well, what if you know you don't want something, but yet it's the only thing you can have right now?
If you don't want something,
if you know it's bad, but financially it's the best situation, whether it be for your children or money or whatever it is, and you're in this situation, will it correct itself?
It will, if you believe that. You know, things will correct themselves, but you've got to believe that it will correct itself, because then again we get into the same pattern. Because if it's something that you don't want and it keeps repeating, it's going to repeat itself. So and it's really simple, although it seems complicated. Just say, I've had enough of this. I want this to happen. The universe is listening to us. I mean, it's taken me a long time to understand that, but I'm honestly having so much validation on this. Just know what you want, put it out there, believe that it's going to happen. We manifest ourselves here.
Well, then the correct answer is perception.
Perception.
It's going to keep, the problem is going to continue
Absolutely.
to present itself in different ways.
How we
Perception to
perceive.
your answer is, if you're going to accept it, that's the only time you're going to change it, if you agree with it.
And it will keep showing it, and that's so true, because it will keep showing ourselves what the same problem keeps arising. Say, let's use a person. That person keeps reappearing. So you can say, I've had enough of this with that person, but until you absolutely understand it, another person is going to show the same particular traits that that person had. But if you recognize that and understand it and believe that you can change it, you will. In any situation, people, places, and things, it will happen.
And it's not always changes. Sometimes it's working with it. Sometimes it's making it so that you are in the positive side of that.
Because you correct it.
yourself.
The most important thing
Correct
is
it. It's a good
correct
word.
it. If you don't correct it, it's going to keep showing itself. We need to correct it, which could be change. It could be anything. It even could be as simple as our imagination. If you see a problem keep on going and coming, imagine, that's so important, that we can change this in our mind, and it will happen. It
Now,
will.
should we accept the change, accept the question, before you get overwhelmed with the question?
Yes, but we don't know that, Freddie. This is the most important, and hopefully my show is bringing a little bit of what we're talking to light. Because if you don't know that, you know, you can say, I want this differently, I would like it to go this way, but the most important part of this whole thing is to believe that you can change it. Because if you don't believe it, the universe is only going to react to what we put out there. So if we say, oh, this keeps happening to me, I wish it could change. No, you say it is going to change. I can't stress this enough, because, you know, I've gone through lots of ups and downs in my life, as you guys know. And I didn't completely understand that. But today I'm on a different journey, and I'm putting out what I want. And it's not like I'm a spoiled child and I want this to happen, I want that to happen. I want it to happen because I want to spread this word to people. And once I realize that I honestly can do that, I'm no different to anyone else. Each and every one of us can do that. Do it, and just do it, believe it. What's the worst thing that happen? It doesn't change, but believe that it will.
Can you believe yourself out of any negative situation?
Absolutely, 100%, I believe that you can. Not instantaneously, because that's up to us. I believe you can do that, but you might think, because there's no time, actually, we have manufactured time. So if something doesn't happen that you want right away, it may not happen the next day. It may happen 6 months from now. But believe that it will happen. If you want it to happen right away, actually voice that. I would like this to happen now. But if it doesn't, the worst thing that you can do is say this doesn't work, because it does work. And just believe that it will work. It will work.
And it's not necessarily a negative. Change sometimes is a negative, sometimes change is for the best, no?
Change is very much for the best, yes, because if we're doing something that we don't like and we don't change it, then it's going to continue that way. So change is very, very important. It's not a negative. No, it's not. It can be very much a positive.
Just means we have to take accountability for what we want to change.
Absolutely, and we have to know what we want to change, because, you know, very often we think about our future and we say, well, we'd like this to happen, we'd like that to happen, and what we put out will happen. And they'll say, you know, I made a mistake. But understand that, acknowledge that, and you can still change it, no matter what it is, anything.
Interesting. Sometimes, you know, you need change and you don't know what you want to change. And then the universe gives you
They'll give you clues.
that change.
Absolutely, they will give you clues. And you know, sometimes change may not be the way that you thought it should go. But if you have trust and you truly believe that the universe is answering us the way that we want it, even though, and again, a negative could be negative, will turn into a positive. The most important is to believe this. Believe in what you put out there will happen. Good and also bad, negativity.
What about worrying? Does it make it worse?
Worrying does make it worse. Of course it does, because you're feeding into the negativity of a problem. So the more that you think about that problem and the more negative you make that problem, the problem is going to actually get worse. So if you say, well, I don't want this problem, I'd like to change it, and then go with what you would like to happen with that problem, you'll see it will happen. But believe it, because if you don't believe it, it's not going to happen. Have faith, whatever it is. I will say a power greater than ourselves, whatever your belief is, but believe that there's people, spirits, there are God, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter. They are listening. They are listening.
Can you make a situation worse?
Of course you can, because you feed into the negativity of it, Freddie. So the more negativity you keep saying, well, this is going to happen. Guess what? If I do that, this is going to happen. Yeah, it's going to happen. So why don't we say to ourselves positively, I'm making a change and all the good things are going to happen. I mean, you know, people can say, oh, she's going to say that. And I was in sales for many years, and I used to listen to some of the sales tactics that they used. Visualize the sale, know that you're going to sell that person. And truthfully, it used to make me angry. I go, oh my gosh, but I did it, and I did sell. So without me understanding it, it was working anyway, because they kept saying it every day at the sales meeting. Visualize the sale, shake hands with that person, and they're going to buy whatever you're selling them. So I'm away from that now, and I'm wanting to pass on what I've learned even from sales.
Okay, I think you have a question.
Yo,
Hi,
hi Sally.
Josh.
You can open up basics. First of all, I didn't know if the spirits had anything to say to me before I asked my question.
That's saying that you worked on this change and you did change, okay, and you are aware of that. But whatever you want, Josh, yes, your change that you made is actually good for you, and you're learning from that, but still be open to more changes. That's very important.
Sweet. Okay, thank you. So going to my question, I'm almost done with school. I'm on my last 2 classes right now. After that, in August, I don't know if I should stay at the position I'm at right now, or if I should start looking and applying to places.
Well, that goes with what you're feeling, okay? And you're actually on a crossroad again, but you need to balance that. So if you balance yourself from within, ask that question again. It doesn't have to be like today, but things will show themselves in the way that you're meant to go. I mean, I see a plan, but you know, it's really up to you what you need to do. But you can feel that, you know that. So whatever you're feeling, go ahead. It won't be wrong if you feel it within yourself. So, and I keep hearing this word change. Change again is important to you. That's very important. That's not coincidence that you asked this question when we were talking about change, because change is going to happen. But feel it, know that it is the right change for you before you make any decision. Go within yourself.
Okay. Is the career path fine? It's just the where
Yes.
I'm at is going to
It's the situation and circumstances might change. Your career, I see your career is good. It's going well. But your situation or immediate situations may need to change a little bit. But that's entirely up to you. And I often talk about our free will. So whatever we've planned, we still have the free will to do it. But because you can do this, go within yourself, meditate, whatever you feel, even ask me, that's fine. Go with what you feel strongly about, because that's what's very important, and that's your passion. Go with your passion. They're telling me that. I brought that word up. Go with your passion.
Sweet. Thank you.
Sandy, you believe in faith and manifestation?
Yes, I do.
You had that.
Oh, boy. Yeah, walked on faith, not in what you see.
How'd you do that?
I just believed. It was a spiritual thing. And I was told that something was going to happen, and everything was against me, 100%, totally. And I said, no, that's not the way it's going to be. And every day I walked on faith. It happened.
So a lot of what I'm talking about, Sandy, you should be able to, I know you can relate to, because we don't even really have to understand it. And I'm sure at that point with your situation, without going into it in detail, you probably had lost not necessarily the faith, but feeling very negative about everything around you because your surroundings were negative. But you still had the strength, because I truly believe that you understand this, I know you do, to work with what you had and believe. That's the most important.
I even did it for you, Sally.
You did.
I'm sure you don't remember.
No, I don't. You did? Because we met a little later on after your whole
Yeah, but this
situation.
is after we met.
Oh, okay, yes, I know you did.
And
Sandy.
we were at the casino. And you wanted to win. And We just.
Oh, I do remember with that $500.
That's right,
Oh, I have to bring
$500.
that up. I
And-
don't often go there, but I do. Just a disclaimer: I don't go to the
I
casino
didn't
that
want to
much.
say that word,
But that's okay. But I went and I got something where you go up on the stage and
Yeah, but prior to that,
oh, I don't
it
remember.
was like, well, you know,
We believed it.
believe it.
I
You
do,
are going
yes.
to win, and it was a very strong thing.
Yes, and we
And
did.
I said, Sally, no, you are going to
Yes,
win.
yes,
And
you-
you never go there.
No, I don't. I don't.
But
But I
it-
won.
yeah,
Yes, I
okay.
did because I believed what you were telling me. So be it casino, be it life, be it whatever it is. I'm not advocating for casinos by
Yeah, she
any
doesn't
means,
like that.
but anything. It doesn't matter. Just as long as you believe it, and that was very good. You know, I mean, I had a situation, and I bring this up many years ago when I'd just come from England, and I really it was hard for me to continue the way that I had been because I had a lot taken from me and I was hungry and I wanted breakfast. Not that I didn't have the money coming in a little bit, but I'm walking along the beach, I go in the water and I go like this and a $5, at that time, that's how many years ago it was, a $5 bill appeared. I believed, although I didn't even know that I was going to be helped, and I was. And here I am.
I think we had to take a commercial break. I need to fix your mic.
Oh, it's not working?
It's working. It's just rubbing, I think, against your necklace.
Oh, okay, all right.
So we're going to fix your mic, take a quick commercial break. In the meantime, you can scan the QR code right here. Go to Author House, which will take you right there to purchase your book, Call Me Zena. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Do you have an idea for a show or a podcast? Do you want the opportunity to be on TV? Ant Media Productions is partnered with True Oldies Real Radio Station and powered by many online platforms such as Roku, Facebook, YouTube, and even Amazon Fire to help amplify your impact. Do you want your voice to reach a wide audience? Call us today at 866-224-5422. Love the Brooklyn Cafe? Don't miss out on some of the latest merch we have available. Need a new shirt? The Brooklyn Cafe has you covered. We have a variety of shirts in all sizes, ranging from the classic cafe shirt to the highly coveted colorful hot dog shirt. Need something for cold weather? Why not grab one of our cafe hoodies? Or you can snuggle up with one of our soft silk touch fabric blankets. The Brooklyn Cafe has everything you need, from clothing about the show to our signature coffee blends and mugs. Get it while supplies last.
Do you want the opportunity to have a TV show or podcast? Now, at Ant Media Productions, you can host your very own visual broadcast anywhere around the world. With our talented group of creators, we will provide you with show elements, board operations, and any on-screen visuals you'd like to showcase. All you must do is log onto your computer and communicate with your viewers. Contact Ant Media Productions at 866-224-5422 or email hello@amp2.tv to start your own show today.
My story starts at 4 or 5 years old. My name is Sally Barnard, and I was born at the end of the Second World War, in the middle of an air raid siren going off. My parents were in a movie theater, and my mother went into labor. My father ran out of the movie theater, but there was no cabs to be available because everybody is running for cover. However, they found one, and the taxi driver was given the address to take my father and my mother to the hospital. As my mother was in labor, about a half an hour, I arrived at exactly midnight. I think I was fed messages at a very early age. My parents used to like to play cards, and they had a card game every Wednesday or Thursday night at home when I was a baby. And I actually said to them one day, "Why do you keep waking me up at night? The card game is waking me up, and I can't get back to sleep so quickly." And they looked at each other and they said, "We're not really waking her up." They were quite away from my bedroom. And they called in a psychic to say what in the world is going on. And the psychic said that I'm getting many messages that are waking me up at night. I thought whatever I was experiencing, other people were experiencing too. You don't know until you realize that you are different. Many things were happening to me, things that were unexplainable to me. What I had dreamt was happening. I could sense many things, and the things that I was sensing were coming about, but something was going on. I will explain to you everything. You're ready. Hi, we're back from the other side of our show. I love to say that because it's really not the other side, it's the other side of our show. Okay, anybody calling in, please ask me a question. I'm available to answer them right now on the show. So stop thinking and call.
Give us a call, 888-994-4995, Studio A, right there on the bottom of your screen. Give her a call. Ask any questions.
No fear. You know, a lot of people don't ask questions because they're afraid of the answers.
And fear is, it is a negative, but it also makes us want to do things, because if we're very fearful and we want to do something, but if we don't understand that, we have to overcome that fear, and then we can do it. So that's also calling into the show. I'm here to answer anything. Don't let the fear stop you, thinking that, oh my gosh, I might make a mistake, or what. There is no mistakes, and there's no wrong questions. That's also very important. There is no wrong question.
But I think the other thing is maybe people are thinking, oh, what if it's more of a generalized answer? Maybe it's not really meant for me.
Well, even though I'm not with that person, by you calling or even typing a message, that's how I guess it works too.
You're going to get the message.
I am getting, we're energy, so I'm getting their vibrations. I don't, you know, I can personalize it to that person. It is for you. If you ask me a question, even if you write it down, it's for you. But other people might benefit from the answer of that. But basically, whatever you ask, I'm going to give you what I feel is the answer to what you're asking me.
And sometimes you paint the answer. You're just not able to see the answer.
Well, this is true because I can feel what's going on in someone's mind. I'm going to give them the answer from what I'm feeling, what they're going through, because I am an empath too. So I'm going to be able, the best that I can, to be able to relate to that question. And also, it can just be written because, you know, we're telepathic too. So it's more than telepathic because they're writing something. I feel that. I'm an empath. I can feel that. Hi.
Hi, Sally.
Hello.
So I'm starting school soon, my senior year, and I was just wondering if you're picking up anything that the spirits are giving to you about that.
Well, you definitely, by going through to become to your senior year, you're doing the right thing. You're on the right track. So don't, even though you might sometimes question yourself, am I doing this right? Why am I doing all this? No. Follow through with what you truly believe, okay? I also, because I have heard you sing, I have to tell you this. You have an amazing voice. So if that's in your, I'm feeling that's what you should do too.
Thank
in
you.
relation to whatever you're studying. But don't let that, go away just by the wayside, because I see you absolutely going out there on the airways singing. And I mean, I haven't said that to anybody else, but I'm getting goosebumps. And I think you know what I'm talking about here. So don't let that just put it on hold. Go ahead with that too.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sometimes it's what you don't expect, the unexpected. Sometimes people don't see their own talents. Sometimes they're so buried in worrying about what am I going to do? Why can't I do it better? They just don't come to the forefront with what makes them different.
Because our mind takes up so much of our that's why you meditate however you want to meditate. It could be through, I paint and I meditate. I don't basically just sit down and meditate. But whatever quietens your mind, you will get the answers with that. It's really important to listen. We have all the answers, and I think some of my pros will say that. We have the answers within ourselves. When I wrote that, and I have quite a few in my book, I had no idea what I was talking about. So a few years on from when I wrote that, I'm seeing it's making much more sense to even me. And I was the author of what I was writing, because we have the answers. We just don't listen because there's so much turmoil going on in the world. We turn on the news and we hear this, or this person is giving us a problem. We need to just quiet for ourselves. We need to quiet and sit back and just, if we go a day without talking to anybody, that's also very good. We go within ourselves. We go to sleep at night, and I believe we get many messages, but we don't take notice of them. So if I can just by pointing this out make people understand a little bit more, maybe there is more to this than just everyday living, paying the bills, sickness, whatever it is. There is more. There is more. There's light at the end of the tunnel.
So let me ask, what did the guides have to say for me today?
It's always basically the same message, Dawn.
That's
I'm
okay.
sorry. I would love to give you something more, but it's really important. But just sit back, just what I've been talking about. Take stock of what's going on around you, because you can't only change yourself. You can't always change other people. But by you changing, and this is what they're telling me too, by you changing from whatever situations you're hearing about, and you're hearing quite a few, as long as you, by example, you don't always have to agree with someone. Sometimes it's good to just listen to their stuff, but try not to take it in, because they're telling you these things because they believe in you, actually. So they're saying, well, Dawn can help us, but you can only help so many people. You've also got to help yourself with that. So it's a compliment in a way, but you don't have to take everybody's stuff, problems or whatever it is, to heart. Show them by example that they can overcome some certain things. So that's my message. Don't take too much to heart. Just listen and then let it go. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Good.
Stop me from getting sick maybe all the time.
Absolutely, because what happens is a stress, not just from yourself. We all have stress. It goes inward, and that also changes to disease. So why would we want to do that to ourselves? Take time out, whatever it be. Go have a facial, have your hair done, but relax, because that's very, very important. Otherwise, this stress within you, I had it. I hurt my knee. They called it a stress fracture. So, oh my God, I've never even heard of a stress fracture. But it woke me up to, and the funny thing is, every time a doctor said, well, what did the MRI say? I couldn't remember the word stress. I said, I have some sort of a fracture. But when I realized it was a stress fracture, it's disappeared, totally disappeared.
Just got to believe in what it is.
You have to, yeah. That was a good example, and I actually just realized as I'm talking about
That's
it now.
funny.
Yeah.
Sally, how is it that the tendency of absorbing other people's negative, for lack of a better word, frequency, why does that occur?
Because we're energy. And if we're listening to a lot of, be it positivity too, so it can work the other way.
Positivity I can understand. The
but
negativity is like spinach. Why?
Yes, because we're taking it in, especially as Dawn knows
But
about
why?
this. Because we're energy. So whatever they're talking about is a low energy. Negativity is a low energy. So the more you talk about negativity, it creates negativity. But not only does it create negativity, it creates negativity for the person that's absorbing it. So they're lowering their vibration. But the good news is, once you're aware of that, as I was just saying to you, you can take it, absorb it, don't absorb it, but just look at what could happen that could correct this situation. But the more you listen to someone's negativity, around the corner someone else is going to call you or talk to you, and it's also going to be negative. But we can raise our vibrational energy. This is so important, and even though I've been talking about this for years, I'm beginning to understand that, because the lower we go, we're going to attract people from that vibration. The higher we go, even if it's a negative situation, we're going to attract positivity, which is a higher vibrational energy. So even if you don't really understand it, and I can't tell you that I understand it exactly, but I'm certainly seeing it better, is just don't let it affect you. If someone's talking to you on the telephone and all they're talking about is negativity, excuse yourself. You can do it easier on a phone than you can when you're with someone. Take yourself out of that.
As opposed to trying to turn them into a positive.
Well, sometimes you just can't.
Sometimes you shouldn't try.
Absolutely, I was going to say that too. But you have to look up. Guess who number one is? Yourself. That applies to everybody. They might say, "Well, you know, that sounds ridiculous. I'm more important." You're important to yourself, no matter what you do. So the more negativity you're taking in from other people, you're going to get more of that. So remember that you need to raise your vibrational energy at that point, because the more they're talking to you, they're lowering your vibrational. And this has been proven a lot, actually. People are understanding that, because we have different, going into another subject, but it's the same in some ways. Vibrational energy is different, like we go into different dimensions. The higher we go into a different dimension, we see more. I mean, one thing I learned, we can go down again, but we can still bring ourselves up, because maybe we're in, if people understand that in the fifth dimension here, we're going to attract people. But that doesn't mean to say we can't go back into the third. So much so, and they have proved this as far as I know, that you see more in that fifth dimension of the energy. You can see things that you didn't see in that third. So when you go back, if you remember that, you may have seen something and it's not even there. This, I believe, has been proven.
But Sally, it is being afraid of negativity an invitation for it to come and bring you down?
Absolutely, because fear is a lower vibrational energy. So whatever you fear, I mean, I have actually proved this to myself over the last few days. For some reason, I hate roaches. I mean, I love any type of life, but I don't like roaches. I don't like to see them. And we've had somebody out there and they got rid of them all. But however, the other day I went into my bathroom and I said, oh my God, I think, and I hadn't seen anything for a couple of months, there's going to be a roach in there. I literally manifested that roach. And sure enough, I walk into the bathroom.
She
I
manifested
screamed.
the roach.
Yes, I saw it
But
because
do you
I'm
really-
fearful.
But do you believe that you manifested it, or was it always there and you just acknowledged it?
It might have been. But if I'm working, this is a good example. If I'm working from a higher vibrational energy because I don't want to see that roach, it could be there, but it could have gone behind the floorboards or somewhere. I wouldn't have seen it. But because I'd lowered myself into that vibrational energy, I saw the roach and I screamed. And I'm sure it was far more scared of me. So now I go into the bathroom or wherever I saw it, because I didn't manage to catch it. And hopefully it's hard for me to catch it and put it outside, but I don't want to kill it
I
necessarily.
have a question for you. Marita wants to know. She says, Zena, I was busy last night. What or where was I?
Okay, I believe that I'm hearing you were amongst the stars. You were in the stars. Now, I think you were with the Palladians. Absolutely, I feel that. I'm getting goosebumps. You had a good experience, Marita. And if that's correct, please just type in the answer to me. I believe that you were very content and happy. You were with your family in the Palladians.
Interesting.
She'll know what I'm talking about. And if she was there, she'll let me know.
She says yes.
Good. Okay. Thank you.
And the Palladians are extraterrestrials, correct?
They are. It's a planet, without going into more detail, but this is for Marita too. They do appear here from time to time. They are amongst us, and that's Marita's home. And you know that, Marita. We're good friends, and she knows what I'm talking about. So anybody else that might relate to that, that's where we go. We go home. We actually, when we leave here and we transition, we go home, but we can also go home before that and come back.
Are we all from a different planet?
Well, yes and no. I know that sounds ridiculous, but yes, many of us have been on Earth for many, many years, but we did originate. And guys, they're looking at me like I'm crazy, okay? Yes, we are and we're not. Some of them is our first incarnation here on Earth, but there are other people that have come to Earth from other planets. So some of us are, some of us aren't. But that's a whole nother show. But that was a good question.
So what did the guides tell you about the studio, the next semester here?
Change. Okay, yeah. You know, I know, because I know a little bit more now because I've been here for a couple of years, that people come and people go. But as long as we're sorry to people because you get to know people. Obviously, you're sorry that they leave, you train them, but they're going on to do what they're meant to do. But the more you keep a positive attitude, which you guys are, I know you're positive, okay, you're going to still attract the people that need to be here. Yes, Freddie, you are positive.
I am
Yeah,
this one.
No,
I am
okay, Dawn is positive too. Okay?
positively a wreck.
No, she's not.
Positively
She's
a wreck
not.
is
So
true.
the more you know that the right person is. Actually, I had an example of that today. You have a new person coming in. She totally was so happy to meet me and related to everything that I'm
True.
talking about. So she said definitely she's going to be here when the show comes on. And I'm happy to have met her. I felt an instant feeling that she was in the right place here. So that will happen. As long as you put it out there, it'll happen.
All right, good change.
All change is good if we believe it's going to be good. We don't always see it that way. And again, and I love this because I've only started saying we can turn the negative into a positive. Yes, we can. So if something is changing, it can either change for the bad or it can change for the good. So why not let's say, okay, we're changing, it's going to be good. That's all we have to do.
It's changed to the neutral and you make it good.
Change to the new.
To the neutral, and then you make it good. You know.
Yes, because that's balance.
Yes,
there.
and every semester
Absolutely.
has always been the same thing. It's been the same thing for 8 years, 9th year now, and it doesn't change. The only problem is what does change is your emotional attachment to the kids that come along.
Yes, and that's okay because you have to let that go because they're going on to, to do what they're meant to do. But what you have done here in the cafe, you've given them all the tools to be able to go out there and do what they need to do and perform what they need to perform, which is great for you guys because you're training them. And they need to go out, you know that, they need to go out into the world, and what they've learned here, they can now take to other people. So change is good both ways. It's change because you have new people coming in that you're going to train again. It's a little, you say to yourself, but occasionally you'll have the ones that stay. Even if they leave, they'll come back. And I have,
Like that one?
yes, is that?
That one?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, well, that's who I was referring to. But, it's only so much that I can tell him. But they will keep coming back. And I believe another lady that just left will also be one of those people. You know
There's
who
a
I'm
few.
talking about. I don't particularly want to air it. But
There's a few, but the object of the game here is that they have to find their place.
They have to because it's like letting your child go out. They become
Every single time,
adults
yeah.
and they go to college. You've got to let them go to college. They'll come back. But if you're very fearful and they become fearful, they may not come back. But just know that tell them that they're on the right path. And that's very, very important that they're on the right path.
Never was I given an opportunity like this where I can make mistakes and it didn't cost me learning. You learn from your mistakes here, which is the complete opposite of what I had to learn back in the day. I had to learn it the hard way. So when I got fired and I was depressed and angry and making more mistakes because of that, it wasn't an environment where I was in a studio doing what I love to do, making mistakes but still learning.
Because you're doing your passion, Freddie, and sometimes we have to go through a learning process too. So sometimes wherever you are in a situation and you get frustrated by it, but if you don't understand, that's why hopefully my message is to people that are going out there, because change is positive. Because if you stay in a particular working situation, it really isn't for you, but because you feel comfortable up to a point, but it's still negativity, you have to have the courage to change that. Because if you don't, everything more negative is going to come to you, although you may feel comfortable because you know the people around you. But it's important to know that there is a change out there. It's important to grab that change and go with it. Because when you start to do that and you make up your mind, certain people will come into you because you're attracting them, that's going to lead you in another direction. And if you listen to those people and you go with that other direction, which is change, you may feel uncomfortable, but that's okay too. You're making ultimately the right decision because you're not comfortable where you are, but you stay there because you're used to it. And that applies to anything. That applies to life. Unfortunately, it applies to people. Unfortunately, when they have to, whatever is going on in their life is bad. They stay there because they like the comfortability of that, but it's not good for them. So you have to make that change. It's really important to understand that change is positive.
Change is positive. We've been through a lot of it, haven't we?
Well,
Yeah,
in
at the end of the day, you say it's positive, but the growing pains and learning and starting all over and the separation anxiety and the lulls. We had 3 kids
know.
one day. They all left back to back to back on the same day within 5 minutes of each other. And I was in the back. I have never seen women cry around me for so long and so hard. And I said, but why are you crying? You're maturing on to some of the greater things, and they went on to do some spectacular
Well, there we
stuff.
go. That's what I'm saying. So you should feel good for them because they're now leaving the nest, so to speak, and they're going out to follow their career. But without that training that you have given them, they wouldn't have the courage to do that. So they're showing you courage by saying, okay, they're comfortable and you're comfortable, but they have to make that change to give themselves more opportunity somewhere. But you've given them a blueprint, you've given them foundation. That is unbelievable. That is, and you just started a foundation. It's funny I use those words, okay, because that's so important. Without that, they couldn't have gone on to go where they're going. You're giving them what they need. It's just like a child that leaves the nest, that goes on. You have to let go. You can't be attached. You have to let go. But just know you've done the best for that person, whoever it is.
The foundation has a foundation.
Yes, as I said foundation, they showed me foundation because your foundation is about that,
So
right?
what do you see happening with the foundation?
Well, pursue it, okay? That's really important because you're going to say, oh, this is a lot of work and this and that. But it's not unsimilar to what you're doing here. You're putting people in touch with other people, which is very important. And unfortunately, in our 3D world, we need money to be able to do that. We need to be sponsored, we need advertising, we need whatever it is. But ultimately, that will pay off. Absolutely, it will pay off. Seems like a lot of work, like when someone new comes in here, the training again, this and that, but they'll go when they're ready. I mean, they may have a certain date because they're only here for a certain amount of months, but it's still up to that person. They're given every opportunity here, and your foundation is showing that they are given every opportunity.
You know, the hardest thing to the growth of the foundation is the positive energy you have to display every single day. Even when it's raining, even when it's snowing, you got to stay positive, and you have to talk about it like it's the best thing you've ever seen. It's that positive reinforcement over and over and over and over, no matter where you are, that you have to learn how to do.
But that's good because it helps you, it helps Dawn, it helps everybody in here. Because if you listen, maybe that they're not that positive when they come in, and you started saying, you know what, I agree with you, that's not going to help anybody.
Not at all.
So do what you need to do because this is not coincidence. You guys are sitting here in the studio doing what you're doing. It's part of your life's plan for both of you here. And though in the beginning it took you a while, but you're doing...
It took you a while.
Yes, it did,
I'm
and
here
I
now,
know your
though.
stories. But ultimately, how many years now? 8 years? You're
Yeah, going
still
on 9
here.
years, yeah.
And look at how you have helped people, both of you together.
Don't remind me.
But you've done it. You've done it. And you know what? Pat yourselves on the back. It's not, you're doing an amazing job here. Even for myself, it took me all these years. I found here, I'm not going anywhere. You know that. I'm here. And you've helped me come out and do my passion. Without this studio, without all that I've gone through, I still would have, because I had Aldo help me, but I became aware of it. So when I was led here, because I'd had the training from my guide, Aldo, for 18 years, to tell me that I needed to go out there, I had the courage to come here 2 years ago and do what I'm doing. And I need to give myself credit for that because I'd never done that before. But because you believed in me at that point at Rosewood, who brought me in here, and I said to myself, I've never been happier in my life. I love it. And, I'm not a spring chicken here, but I love what I'm doing. And it's through other people's help. It's not all just about me.
And Marita says, this is a new way change in all capitals.
Yes, it is, Marita, absolutely. And you have to come back and visit me, as we talked about, and visit everybody in person in the studio, which we had talked about, because she'd love to meet you guys. Known her for a long time. But she lives way down in Melbourne Beach, Florida. Not Melbourne, Melbourne Beach, Florida.
Which would be amazing. Do you want to close out with one of your pros again?
Yes, why don't we do that?
And everyone can get the
I'm
book.
going to open it, because I believe it's going to be opened at a certain page. All right,
Call Me
I've got one
Zena
hint.
on Amazon or Author House.
Yes, And I guess the QR code is there, or just go into Amazon, and Call Me Zena, and you'll see it. And that takes you to Author House's site too. And I'm reading here, Hidden Within. Sometimes in the moment of turmoil, we cannot see the light. We must take time and look within. There is the answer. As humans, this is a difficult task. Pain or serenity, what do we choose? Do not judge yourself or others. We then go back to our pain. Look around, think, feel. We are not alone. There is so much help. Look once again at the miracle that we have chosen. Keep going on this journey. Please try to remember. Keep asking for help. It's all around you. We are loved. We are blessed. Do not forget. We will find the true meaning. Do not give up. Seek and you will find. Zena. And that was very appropriate, right?
So before you close out, how do people ask for help?
Well, one way is come and call into my show. Oh, you know, we have everybody around us. If we are open to it, we will meet the right people. There are messages going on around us. So we just, you know, even just express it. Say, you know what, I'm going through a lot of turmoil. That's what I was just reading. I didn't know what I was writing. I was channeled with that. Help me. And then be surprised. I'm going to say don't be surprised, but be surprised when it happens and go, oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. That's just what I needed. Be it that you'll turn the TV on sometimes and you'll hear just what you're meant to hear. They're helping you. They are helping you. Seek and you will find.
Seek and you will find. All right,
Yep.
ready to wrap this up?
Yes, I am. Okay, thank you all. Tune in this time next week. Please have, maybe guys listening right now, anybody write down a question and then ask me on the show next week. Thank you, and here's my book again. Thank you, everybody. See you this time next week.
You have been watching Call Me Zena with your host, Sally Barnard. As an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer, know that you can always seek me out for resources by visiting artbysallybarnard.com. Join us next week, Mondays at 2:30. Have a blessed day.